I think what digital, and this is my theory, is what digital has done to marketing in the last 10 plus years, what the internet has done, and all these abilities to calculate cost per acquisition and return on ad spend and all those things, that we've forgotten the top of the funnel, and everybody's focused at the bottom of the funnel. And what we know as marketers, and what I've come to realize a lot over the last 12 months and talking to you, is how important the top of the funnel actually is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like you said often to me and on this podcast, I love the expression. You say too often companies are asking their potential customers to take the last step first, which is, hey, I put an ad on LinkedIn or digital ad somewhere, and then you click through to the page to just buy it. You just,
Yeah.
right? And going back to the book and the funnel, is that the authors are saying not that the funnel doesn't exist or that we should throw it away, but we're getting too hung up on the people who we think are in the funnel, and we're ignoring why they got there, how they got there, and can you get them through those 4 stages, because those 4 stages exist. It's not like you pour gasoline into a funnel and it skips the middle and then comes out the other end, right? So just to use the analogy, it has to go through those phases.
And okay, so do they say that step one is to understand how existing customers are getting through the funnel? Like, make sure you understand that, like those who are maybe just coming through, naturally or organically, or those types of things, right? The first thing you got to do is understand your funnel before you can start working your funnel.
Yes. And so what this says, again, it's a customer-led. Those are the 3 most important words. Well, it's not that important, but customer-led approach is very important, because I found throughout my career, and this is kind of what I've been preaching to you, and thankfully you're a wonderful congregation, is that too often brands just make assumptions or about why somebody is buying their product, why they continue to use the product or service, why they might refer it out. Either they're making assumptions, or I think too often they're telling themselves what they want to hear, which is, we know the customer. And I've often said, okay, if you do know the customer, let me talk to a few of them and just validate everything you just said. And then both of our minds will be put at ease. But what I found, and what the authors find, is typically when you go out and you start asking customers, either who have purchased the product, service, or have not, you discover a lot of things that either your assumptions were wrong, or there were blind spots. You didn't even know things were happening. And there's not only maybe opportunities that you're missing, but opportunities that you never knew existed. And that's why you go directly to the customer first, outside of the funnel. So forget the funnel for a minute, right? And go talk to the customers. And that I think is where the greatest intelligence lives.
I agree. And you've proven that to me, through working with some of the clients that we've worked with, or, so some of the stories that you told me about, previous work, and then, reading books like this, or talking to some of the other professionals that we've talked to. If you're not talking to your customers, you're not listening to your customers. I've got clients right now that aren't paying attention to customer reviews, like on Google, right? They're not responding to the reviews. You're not listening to your customers, good or bad, right? There's insights on both sides. So if you want to grow, you want to scale your business, you got to understand the why. Why are people buying from you, or why are they not buying from you? And then figure out what you need to adjust if you want to replicate that with other businesses or other consumers.
Exactly. And again, not to sound like a broken record, but from the beginning of the season, I've talked about this why, how, what model on messaging, right? And so the why, how, what model maps to this funnel, because the people who are unaware are either one of 2 things. They're either problem unaware, or they're solution unaware, or they're your product unaware. What are these things? They're unaware, right? And so when they're unaware that they have a problem, or that there is a solution to their problem, think of startups like, all of the startups that happen and came to eliminate the inbox, the email, right? It's like people were living with email. Yeah, it was clunky, but they didn't know another way, right? Mm-hmm. And so the Slacks of the world had to come out there and make people aware. They were already aware of the problem, but they weren't aware of the solution or category. Anyway, so out there is where the why messaging lives, right? Because you need to get somebody's attention and say, you don't have to live that way any longer. I know that this is a pain, or I know that you have this aspirational gain. And I know what's driving it. And so when you communicate that at the top level and you lead with their why, now you've got their attention and you can get them into the funnel. What I find interesting, we'll come back to messaging, because not only does various messaging align with certain layers of the funnel, so do tactics, so do advertising tactics. And so what you said at the beginning, let's go back to that, which is at the bottom is a capture of a lead,
Yeah.
not a generation of a lead. It's not even the generation of demand, right? So how do the various tactical things apply to this funnel as well?
Yeah. So for the last 10 years, companies have been asking me to do activities like search engine optimization, SEO, paid Google ads, even social media advertising, most of which is lead gen. And those activities, in most cases, are activities where they're trying to capture somebody at that bottom of the funnel, right? So that's why I'm calling it demand capture. Actually, it was John Moran with Tier 11. He used to have an agency called Solutions 8. He's an advertiser, I would say, one of the top 10 Google Ads experts in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he started talking about Performance Max campaigns and how Performance Max campaigns were really good at capturing demand and not generating demand. And that really got me thinking, not to get into the nuances of Performance Max, and that's a whole nother podcast in and of itself, talking about Google ads, but that the majority of activities that we've been doing for clients are demand capture. And, but, part of the ask from a lot of clients is to grow the funnel, right? And understand what's happening inside that funnel and understand the journey, the prospect journey, and those types of things. They say, well, wait a second. All of these activities we're doing and where we're putting all of our marketing budget is at the bottom. And if we're not seeing success there, what you're essentially doing is waiting for people who are problem aware either on their own or through a competitor, and then go and do a search looking for your solution.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just happen to be coming up in search results. And guess what? The highest cost, the highest CPC, the highest cost per acquisition, or what, that's at the bottom of the funnel, because everybody wants to be active down there. Everybody's bidding for those demand capture type activities. But what does it actually look like if we were to generate demand in your marketplace, for you to communicate your why messaging to people who don't know you exist, or maybe know you exist but don't realize they have a problem, or don't realize that you have a solution to their problem, and you could articulate in a way that pulls them into your marketing funnel where you could convert them. I will say there's a second area of this, which is we've been doing a lot more account-based marketing activities where our clients know the accounts they're going after. They've identified X number of businesses and they have the contacts and accounts for those businesses. They have inside sales who are, maybe you call them, well, they call them like sales development reps, who are actively calling and trying to nurture those leads. And marketing needs to come across alongside of those needs, or alongside of those salespeople, to help bring everybody into the funnel. And then we're trying to understand, well, where are all of these accounts at? If we know the companies we're going after and they don't know about your solution, or they don't even know that they have a problem today, or maybe they know they have a problem, but again, they don't know that you're a good solution for that problem, right? We've got to provide messaging to them that hits them wherever they're at in their journey of solving that problem. Capture that there, just capture them into the funnel per se, and then nurture them to bring them down to where they want to request a demo. They want to do a discovery, they want to download a white paper, and those types of things. So it does start to get more sophisticated than just running Google ads. And, those are search terms that people are putting in who are like, they're already ready. They're looking for the solution. Now they're just comparing price, features, a bunch of other things.
So if you're spending all of your money and efforts at that bottom of the funnel, you're presuming that anyone who gets there, so clicks on your landing page, has already gone through all of the other phases.
Right.
And some haven't, I would submit, most haven't. So you're assuming they're already well aware of your product, your brand, your differentiators. You're assuming all of that, which I think is assuming a lot, at least for most of the clients that I work with, because they're not household names, right? They're not Nike, Gatorade, any of those. You're assuming that that person is not only aware of their own problem and your solution, that they are interested in solving their pain, which some people aren't. Going back to the Slack thing, right? So they probably ran into a lot of dead ends initially because they're like, yeah, email's horrible, but I'm living with it, or there's lots of companies, startups, technology, that eliminate things like Excel. Yeah, I don't like Excel, but I'm living with it and it's, relatively free and whatever. So anyways, you're assuming that that person's already said, all right, I can't live like this anymore. I'm interested. And now you're assuming that you are one of a number of solutions, right, that they're vetting. So now we're down, the customer you're presuming has gone through the interest phase, and they've already said, yes, I do want to buy something like this. And you're assuming that they're already at desire and that you've captured them, like you said earlier, at that magical moment with the credit
Right.
card is out, their fingers are burning, and all they got to do is enter a credit card and swipe, right? That presumes a lot.